After graduating college in 2008, a man named Mr. Smith landed his dream job out in sunny California in the famed Silicon Valley. He wasn't getting paid an insane amount of money, but it was enough to pay the bills and save a little extra on the side. By all accounts, Mr. Smith was on the fast track to a moderately successful career as a software engineer. Mr. Smith was a great employee and made lots of friends at his new job. It was through one of his friends in 2010 that Mr. Smith learned about a new, little-known technology called Bitcoin. To Mr. Smith, it was mostly just a neat idea, not much practical use and no chance for any real growth. Still, it was a pretty fun idea, so Mr. Smith decided to look more into Bitcoin. He became really intrigued when the price of Bitcoin skyrocketed from less than a cent to over 8 cents in the course of just 5 days. Still, he was really skeptical though and took a few more months before he decided to buy some. But unfortunately, by that time, Bitcoin's price had risen all the way up to 15 cents, almost doubling. Mr. Smith felt like an idiot for not getting in cheaper, but despite that, he decided to invest $3,000 and in return received 20,000 Bitcoins. After that, Mr. Smith was glued to the price of Bitcoin for a few months, but unfortunately not much happened and it actually started to dip a little. And Mr. Smith wondered if he'd just gotten in too late. It was at that point that Mr. Smith stopped checking the price of Bitcoin. And slowly over time, he forgot that he even owned it. That is until 3 years later when Bitcoin was all over the news. It had absolutely skyrocketed to over $300. Mr. Smith was floored. His $3,000 investment was now worth over $6 million. He immediately sold 1,000 Bitcoin. Then the price rose all the way up to $800. Mr. Smith decided it was time to sell and sold 18,000 more Bitcoin, leaving him with just 1,000 Bitcoin left, just in case Bitcoin's price ever went up further. All in all, Mr. Smith made over $25 million from his initial $3,000 investment. Now he travels in first class all over the world, staying in the nicest hotels he can find, spending time with friends and his family, and really just doing and living life the way he wants to. This is a true story, and Mr. Smith is a real person who was anonymously interviewed by Forbes. He was able to make a life-changing amount of money, mostly just because he totally forgot that he owned Bitcoin. Had he been actually following the price of Bitcoin, charting it out daily, and really just glued to the ups and downs, I'm sure he would have sold his, fortune when his $3,000 turned into $30,000, which by all standard metrics is an absolutely insane ROI for your investment. After all, you gotta imagine at that point, who knew if Bitcoin would even be around a year from that date? Who knew if the price of Bitcoin could go higher than that? It's actually funny, a lot of the people that ended up becoming crypto millionaires were all just the people who forgot they owned Bitcoin in the first place. That's because most of the early traders in Bitcoin who remembered that they owned Bitcoin and actually followed the price movements, when they saw Bitcoin go from less than a cent to over $1, sold everything that they owned because there's no way that this Bitcoin is gonna go higher than $1 when it started out less than a cent. Now, obviously, in retrospect, that seems really dumb, knowing what happened with Bitcoin, but you gotta imagine in their shoes, it seemed very logical when they had $1,000 that turned into $50,000 or $1,000 that turned into $100,000 to sell and take the profits off the table. The craziest part of this whole story to me is the fact that had Mr. Smith missed that news article and actually forgot he owned Bitcoin for even longer, he would have made quite a bit more money. In fact, instead of making just $25 million, at the height when Bitcoin was over 60,000, had he sold, he would have been a billionaire from an initial $3,000 investment. And I strongly believe that there are people making the same mistake today that a lot of those early crypto traders made, where they're selling too soon, imagining because they're living in the right now, that the prices of these assets cannot possibly go much higher than they are today. And I think people are going to be looking back 10 years from now at some of these different crypto projects and thinking, man, people were so dumb to have sold when blank was only at 10 cents. Or when blank was only at $1. Mr. Smith thought he was late to the game when Bitcoin hit 15 cents. There's a lot of people out there who think they're late to the game right now. If you haven't heard me talk about my father-in-law, he paid over $30,000 to get access to multiple high-end crypto investment newsletters. These newsletters, apart from being extremely expensive, have an incredible track record and have made some of their subscribers millions of dollars. And the people who write these newsletters are heavily connected with not only Wall Street, but a lot of the top crypto mover and shakers. My father-in-law gives me access to all these newsletters. I've been reading them since like 2016. These people are incredibly smart and incredibly talented at what they do. And in this video, I'm gonna be sharing what these people are currently saying about Bitcoin, about cryptocurrency, and what they're saying is going to happen next based on their research and expertise. And if you're not paying really close attention right now, you have the potential to miss out on amazing opportunities and be like one of those people who sold Bitcoin really early on when it hit 30 cents. And at the time, thought they made an incredible decision, but really sold out way too soon. And first, I'm gonna cover the news they're highlighting and the things that they're saying are important developments in the crypto space. And second, I'm gonna talk about their opinion on what they say it means and what's going to happen next. All right, let's dig in. The first thing and the most important thing is all these newsletters are drilling in the word adoption. And that's because they see adoption as the single most important metric when it comes to cryptocurrency investing. That's what made the internet so successful and all these internet companies so successful, is because people actually started using it. They actually started adopting it into their everyday routines, habits, and life. And that's why it's valuable. And so they're looking at the crypto space and they're saying, hey, are we seeing adoption? Okay, with that being said, let's investigate. First up, MasterCard just announced that they're gonna be working with different crypto startups. And we know in the past, Visa has announced that they're doing the same thing. They're both getting involved in the crypto space. They're both getting involved in DeFi, and they're both getting involved in blockchain payments solutions. Now, whether that's because they view it as a threat to their business or they genuinely see it as the future of all finance is anyone's guess, but both of them are taking it serious enough that they're getting heavily involved in the space. Now, that seems pretty good for adoption if you have two of the biggest, credit card companies on the planet getting involved. Second up, Amazon is hiring its own crypto team. That's actually why recently the price of Bitcoin absolutely skyrocketed, is because people were speculating that meant that Amazon was going to start accepting cryptocurrencies as payments. Amazon came out and said that is not the case. We're not accepting cryptocurrencies as payments as anytime soon. But what they did say they're doing is really interesting. I'm going to read it word for word. Amazon said, "We're inspired by the innovation happening in the cryptocurrency space and are exploring what this could look like on Amazon. We believe the future will be built on new technologies that enable modern, fast, and inexpensive payments." Amazon is currently the largest online e-commerce brand. And the fact that they're currently taking crypto so seriously is really interesting for the future of the crypto space. The next piece of major news in the space is Ethereum's major upgrade just happened. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna start burning Ether tokens on a regular basis, as well as hopefully reduce transaction fees on the network, making the network far more usable and useful in the DeFi space. This is why we've been watching the price of Ethereum absolutely skyrocketing recently. Now, for this next part, I'm gonna actually read through all the updates in the space going on right now, just because there are so many. Now, and I know a lot of you guys are gonna wanna click away and not listen to all this, but trust me, this is really important for mental reinforcement as to why you're involved in the space. If the price of Bitcoin were to drop down to 20,000 tomorrow, you'd be really tempted to sell because emotionally you're gonna be so involved in it. And this is gonna be something that's gonna remind you as to why maybe you shouldn't. Leading Bitcoin financial services firm NYDIG and sales tech provider NCR will allow 650 US community banks and credit unions to make Bitcoin purchases available to their customer. The new partnership could reach an estimated 24 million customers. And part of this is they're gonna actually allow all of the banking clients on their banking account online to be able to purchase Bitcoin directly from the bank. TP ICAP, the world's largest intradealer broker, will launch a Bitcoin trading platform in partnership with Fidelity Digital Assets. Citigroup has officially launched a new business unit dedicated to the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager with nearly 9 trillion in assets under management, is seeking to develop a blockchain strategy for its flagship portfolio management system, Aladdin. If you're investing at all, there's no way you've never heard of BlackRock. And that is a massive piece of news that has gone mostly under the radar. And honestly, I'm not sure why, because that is absolutely insane. Goldman Sachs conducted its first repo trade using JP Morgan's private blockchain network. It swapped a tokenized version of a US Treasury bond for a JPM coin. The transaction took 3 hours and 5 minutes compared to the day or two it would normally take. Goldman Sachs global head of digital assets said, "We pay interest per the minute. We firmly think this will change the nature of the intraday marketplace." It's also important to note that just a few years ago, JP Morgan was making fun of cryptocurrency and making fun of Bitcoin and calling them just wastes of time. And now they're heavily involved in the blockchain space. Venture capital VC firm Andreessen Horowitz just launched a new $2.2 billion crypto fund, the largest crypto fund ever. They said, "We've been investing in crypto assets since 2013 and are more excited today about what comes next than ever before." These guys, literally all they do is study cryptocurrency and what's coming next and all the laws, regulations, and adoptions that are happening. It is literally their full-time job, and they employ a massive staff to do this. And they are more excited today than they ever have been before. And not only that, they're not just saying it, they're putting a lot of their money on the line because they believe it firmly. VC company Blockchain Capital aims to raise $300 million for its fifth venture fund. PayPal and Visa are investing as limited partners. This is PayPal's first such arrangement with a crypto VC firm. The Bank of Israel is trying out Ethereum's technology in a recently launched internal trial for its digital shekel. A video surfaced of Mexico's third wealthiest man, Ricardo Salinas Pliego. I'm just mispronouncing everything today. Explaining why he thinks all fiat currencies are fraud, and if he had to hold a single asset for the next 30 years, it would be Bitcoin. In a recent tweet, he also said, "Me and my bank are working to be the first bank in Mexico to accept Bitcoin." Chainalysis reports in India, where households own more than 250 tones of gold. I don't even know what that is. Investments in crypto grew from nearly 200 million to around 40 billion. That's a 200 times growth in the past year. That's despite hostility toward the asset class from India's central bank and a proposed trading ban. More than 15 million Indians are now trading crypto, according to the report. Point72 Asset Management is looking to hire a head of crypto. The multi-strategy hedge fund firm manages $22.1 billion. This indicates it's getting ready to pump serious institutional capital into crypto plays. This is despite the market downturn and the entire crypto dip. A lot of these companies started doing this after the market crashed because now they're excited to get in and buy low. Soros Fund Management, which manages approximately $27 billion, approved Bitcoin trading in a Bloomberg interview. CIO Don Fitzpatrick said, "Bitcoin is easily storable, easily transferable, and has a finite supply that halves every 4 years. When you look at gold, it's struggled to get traction because Bitcoin is taking some of its buyer base." According to JP Morgan report, Ethereum upgrades could jumpstart a $40 billion staking industry. JP Morgan estimates the launch of Ethereum 2.0 would lead to more adoption of the coin and could increase staking payouts to $40 billion by 2025. After a 6-month trial, Spanish banking giant BBVA will open Bitcoin custody and trading to its private banking citizens in Switzerland. Goldman Sachs plans to offer Ethereum options and futures to its clients in the coming months. According to a recent survey, this was huge. Hedge funds expect to hold 7.2% of their assets in crypto in 5 years' time. They estimate asset allocation equates to around $312 billion across the sector. And honestly, there's even more than that, but I'm literally just getting tired of speaking because there is so many crazy adoption stories going on right now. But I'll end it with this. According to fintech analytics company Portfolio Insider, the current Bitcoin adoption rate has been outpacing the internet's user growth rate and will reach 1 billion users in the next 4 years. That's nearly 2 times faster than the internet reached that same landmark. Okay, sorry for that long, crazy, just me reading from, what's going on right now, but I literally couldn't remember all that stuff because there's just so much happening right now. It is an exciting time to be involved in crypto, and there are a lot of people jumping ship right now who are jumping out thinking this is the end. It can't get any bigger. It can't get higher than 15 cents. That'd be crazy. Right now is still the way early game. And a lot of these crypto projects are going to get much bigger. Some of them that are just, maybe less than $1 billion today could end up being tomorrow over $1 trillion assets. So regardless on, what happens in the next few days, weeks, or months in the crypto space with the price of Bitcoin and the price of altcoins and the price of Ethereum, The picture long term is really crystal clear at this point. If you're looking at just terms of adoption, and you're looking at terms of like on-ramps into the crypto space and the growth of actual people using cryptocurrency, then you see a really clear picture that over the next, decade, the price of cryptocurrencies are going to absolutely explode. Not all cryptocurrencies are going to make it. In fact, I imagine most of the current crypto projects around are going to fail. But there are going to be a few cryptocurrency projects where people invest, $1,000 and they forget that they even invested in that, and they end up making over 100 million, maybe even over $1 billion from that initial $1,000 investment. Now, obviously that's not gonna be most people, but anyone involved in this space, anyone really paying attention to what's going on, is going to have the potential to absolutely change their lives and their finances forever. Because according to all these experts, this space is going to continue to grow, going to continue to expand, is going to continue to increase adoption. And what these experts are saying is right now is basically a fire sale. It's the best time that you're going to have probably in a long time to get into cryptocurrency, to buy up some of these smaller projects and get in early before things get absolutely out of control. All of them agree that if you're to get into the crypto space today, you're going to be better for it over the next 5 to 10 years. And by the way, none of this is financial advice on my part. This is just their opinions and what they're saying, and I'm just passing that information along to you guys. If this video has been helpful and you want to see more of these updates, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments so I can just see that people are interested in these videos. They take a long time to be, put together and to go through all the newsletters and compile all the information. So it's really helpful just to know that people are wanting me to keep posting these videos. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell next to it if you want to be notified each time I release videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.